I'm really excited about our guest speaker today because I know he's gonna bring the energy and he's gonna bring some fire content. And I've been waiting a few years to bring him out to a masterclass. So will y'all promise me that y'all will not only give it up for all our sponsors and speakers and everyone today, but you guys will bring the energy like this room is packed? Can y'all do that for me? If so, say, oh yeah. Or make some noise. Maybe that's probably a better idea. All right, so let's start off with a couple things and then I'll bring up these sponsors. First of all, how many of you have been to Masterclass Central Florida before? Raise your hands. So almost everyone in the room. Who is it your first time at a Masterclass session? Can we give a giant round of applause for these people? Welcome. Come on back next month. What's the third Thursday of next month? Who knows? August what? I think it's a 20-something, but someone... August 21st. All right, so we started this thing in 2018, and we realized that there weren't a lot of places where you could go to learn from agents without an ulterior motive. Like, yeah, there were places you could go to a class, but like they were trying to recruit you, they were trying to sell you coaching, they were trying to sell you something, they were affiliated with a board, with something. And we just realized that like we fill a neutral space in real estate media. There's not really a lot of that. And we decided to start putting agents from the top 500, because basically, if you don't know Real Producers, we rank the top 500 agents in Greater Orlando objectively based off data. We publish a high-end magazine that goes straight to them. It's all about them. And they can't buy a copy, they can't buy a subscription, they can't buy their face on the cover. It's all earned. And we've been doing it for 102 months now. And what's cool is we throw these parties 4 times a year, and someone would be like, all right, hey, how do I get an invite to the party? And we'd be like, sell more next year, buddy. And it always seemed kind of disingenuous. So we started to build what we call a bridge, which is Masterclass, which was, hey, come to Masterclass, come learn from people that are selling at the highest level, and learn what they're doing so you can do it next year. Does that make sense? And so we have about 90 advertising partners, and they support the platform, and they're why we're able to do this stuff. So what's cool about them is that they're all referred by top 500 agents. There's not one person that just said, hey, I want to pay, or I want to bring bagels or donuts or something. They're all personally recommended and vouched for by an agent at the top 1 or 2% of the Central Florida real estate market. Is that pretty cool? So here's why I say it. Get everyone that's one of our preferred partners, raise your hands real quick. Could everyone make some noise for these people? If you meet any of these people that don't sell real estate, they are worth knowing. They're probably the people you want to know the most in this room because they're really good at what they do. And a few of them step up extra to make Masterclass happen beyond just doing a monthly magazine. And so I'm going to give each of them 60 seconds to tell you who they are, what they do. It's not long enough for them to fully pitch everything they do the way that I wish we could. So could everyone here make sure that you follow these people, meet these people after, stick around and shake their hands, stuff like that? Could y'all do that? All right, one other question I want to ask. How many of you have ever learned something that helped your business grow at a previous masterclass? Raise your hand. Okay, a lot of the room. Could y'all promise me that if you have ever learned something, or if you learned something today that'll help your business, that you'll just make sure to meet at least one of these sponsors that makes it happen? Because that's why we're able to do this thing. Can y'all do that? If you can, say yeah. All right, I'm going to bring up our sponsors. Y'all come on up. I'm going to just run down the line, let them tell you what's up. Yeah, bring all the mics down here. You want to jump on stage? You want to do in front of the stage? What's easier? Front of the stage. All right. Kurt's got his way. Scott's kicking us off. Let's do it, bro.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy summer to you all. I went with a summer shirt today as opposed to more formal. So hope you all are having a good time. I'm with Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group, and we're the home of the true upfront pre-approval, upfront approval. Where we underwrite your clients before you take them out in your car. So give me a call, shoot me a text, find me here. Would love to connect if we don't know each other.
Good morning, everyone. Kurt Kramer with Sorensen Moving. We're an agent for Mayflower Van Lines. I handle everything on the residential side of the business. So if you're moving somebody locally, cross country, even internationally, I'd be more than happy to help with that. What do you get when you hire Sorensen? You get a binding quote. You do not get a broker. You do not get your stuff put in a storage unit. You don't get your stuff suspended for another $3,000. You get licensed and insured mover, uniformed movers, skilled labor. So please, if you have any questions or need anything with relocation, let me know.
See if I did it right. There we go. Hey, good morning, everyone. Chris Hardiman, Fusion Home Loans. This is my first time showing up at one of these events wearing these colors. So if you see me at one previously, I was wearing black and red. So we were the Apex group, and you've met a lot of our loan officers here in the past. We just kicked it off with Fusion Home Loans, and we're very happy to be where we are. In terms of who we are, similar. Independent mortgage bank, in-house, underwriting, closing, funding, all that good stuff. All the loans that you know and love, conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, all that fun non-QM stuff that we know is super important. Except now, we are truly, we always said we were a local lender tied to a big corporate mothership in Illinois. Now we are truly a local lender. So now we are an Orlando employer. We've got everyone here. We've got it all under one roof, and we're just super excited to continue to build relationships with in-Orlando real producers, continue to serve the Orlando real estate community, and thank you all for coming out. Looking forward to the panel.
All right, I am Mike Schmidt with Central Florida Building Inspectors. We cover all of Central Florida with 22 inspectors. And now I know you're probably thinking, the inspectors, you kill the deal. Well, what's today's class about? Negotiation, right? What's a great tool to negotiate, show your value, and save your clients money? The home inspection. We train our inspectors to have a good curbside manner, speak truthfully and honest, but not be an alarmist. Okay? Our reports also have a feature where you can rip out the sections that you need to send over to the listing agent to support your claims for what your clients want in a concession. So, and if you're curious about how to arm yourself or agents in your brokerage or on your team, we have both a CE course and a non-CE course about taking the stigma out of the home inspection. And that's the one tip I'll give you. Don't tell your clients it's a hurdle. Tell them it's a vital part of the home buying process designed to protect their biggest investment.
All right. Hey, before we go with our last two, before they bring us home, we're going to give a 1, 2, 3 clap to the people that weren't here, because otherwise I will forget to shout them out. So I'll just name them all, and then we'll do a 1, 2, 3 clap after. So we've got Assured Partners, Monica and her team. We've got Florida Home Photo, that's Mosin and his team. We've got Rick and his team at Artesian Title, and Shea Walker Photo, and the Vibe Creative is probably at the Vibe Creative shooting awesome photos, so you should book a branding session with her. Let's give them a 1, 2, 3 clap on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Oh, and one other person I totally forgot, because she's always up front, and that's Heather Hurry, the Jeff Mackey team at Pillar to Post. She's racing back to Florida and didn't make it in time. We'll give her a 1, 2, 3 clap. 1, 2, 3. All right, Christy, let's bring it home.
Good morning. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Christy Keene. I'm the Business Development Manager at DeVore Design, and we can pretty much help you with any of your branding, marketing, listing needs. Our job is to make your listings and your personal brand shine. So whether you need photography, whether you need some really cool social media, whether you need video, we're here to help. If you're somebody that really wants to break out into your social media this year, we have actually just rolled out an entire package that is solely focused on that. Come and see me. We'll look at some of the cool stuff we're doing, and we're going to make sure it's very agent focused so that you can own your space online.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Lori Charavella, Director of Business Development for Red Door Title Group. I am your 24/7 title girl. So what does that mean for you? You guys don't work 24/7. I mean, so you do work 24/7. You guys don't work 9 to 5, so it would make sense that your partners in the industry don't as well, be it lending, be it inspection, or anything of the sort. So I am available to you guys nights, weekends, after hours, holidays, when you guys are the most busy. We have an attorney on staff, and we are short sale friendly, and that's it.
Love it. Let's give all the sponsors a round of applause, as well as we've got Marlise in the corner with Orlando Estate Sale. Ladies, you should definitely know her for liquidating estates. You should also know Harding Bell International. Steve Bell is, I believe, still on sabbatical. And also Hatfella Productions, Marlon and Tori are probably out shooting photos. So let's give a round of applause to all the sponsors. All right, y'all ready to get started? You guys came to learn something today, right? All right, let's talk about sales and negotiation, persuasion, and persuasive conversations. I think we should start Let's start with Lindsay Voss. She is a previous cover agent on Orlando Real Producers magazine, which means she's been ranking in the top 25 to 50 agents in Central Florida year after year after year for most of the last decade. Voss Realty opened in 2007. She officially became an agent in 2014. She's been crushing it ever since. She has sold over $750 million worth of real estate. Can we give a round of applause to that number? That's pretty ridiculous. And that's herself. That's not a team. That's not all these people. That's her. She's not just known for her expertise, but for genuine care. She shows her clients. She's also a top 10 mom, according to her 4-year-old, in case you guys didn't know. And her husband runs Exotic Nights, a exotic car dealership. So if you need a badass whip, you should meet the guy with the cool beard. So let's give a giant round of applause for Lindsay Voss. You guys can laugh, It's trying to have some fun, but. All right. And I'm going to have a convo with Lindsay first. And then we'll bring each of our panelists up as we go, just so you know. I know TJ will be chomping at the bit, ready to go. But yeah, you just grab one of those chairs over there. We got, ladies, you both have pants on, right? We can go with the high chair. Okay. We got short chairs right behind here, but I think the high ones will work today. Is that cool with you? Yeah. And flick that button on there to the right, and it should turn you on, and it'll be green. Flick it to the right, or maybe to the left. All right. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about sales and persuasion, obviously, and you and I talked a lot previously about things that people are doing, need to be doing, or aren't doing when it comes to being persuasive conversations to set up the sale, if you will. Can we talk a little bit about that and share with them some of the things you're telling me?
Yes, of course. So everyone raise your hand. Everyone. Okay, right now we are all friends, right? That's what the whole purpose of real estate. We are all trying to get to the closing table. Whether you're representing the buyer, the seller, whomever. That's what our main goal is. So we all need to work together. Some of the biggest mistakes that I've been seeing agents do is taking the negotiation process so personally. Everyone takes it like it's like their own deal or their own house. And it's like, at the end of the day, your seller wants you fighting for them to get the deal closed. Your buyer wants you fighting for them to get the deal closed. But ultimately, these people want to close. That's the point. So I think that's starting of the gist that we talked about the other day.
Let's talk about some of the things mistakes that agents are making, in your opinion, and let's talk about some of the persuasive conversations that you're taking advantage of when they make mistakes.
Oh, yes. So sometimes agents give a little too much information at the wrong times. And the part of persuasion, right, is asking the questions that you can get answered from some agents that will help you on the other side in your negotiating process.
So give us some examples.
So some great examples are, let's say I'm representing the buyer and the seller of the house that they're buying is closing on a new construction home the day after closing. Well, that buyer, as you all know, new construction has been, asking for a lot of money down and non-refundable. So that this buyer of the new construction has a lot of money at stake if they don't close the day after closing, right? So knowing that ahead of time helps you to be able to structure the deal in a way that's more beneficial to your buyers, because now you know something very important on the seller side.
Give me a couple other questions you like to ask.
I also ask too, find out what's important. So find out, for instance, closing date. Find out when they want to move out. Sometimes, even in this market, there's still multiple offer situations. One of the biggest tools I use is post-occupancy agreements, because a lot of times that can really be beneficial to the seller, and I think so many people are uncomfortable using them. Obviously, I started using them way more in 2021, but it's kind of become a tool in my tool chest that I like to use, I like to offer. Just kind of stuff like that.
Love it. What about, give me a couple others. Can you think of any more? Any other things you see agents doing that are making concessions essentially because of their conversation or because they're giving too much information?
Yes. So a lot of times too, if a house, especially in this market, the market is obviously evolving, and there's a lot. Average days on market now is way higher than it used to be. So really using that to your advantage, like if their house has been on the market for 200 something days at this price, and you see that they've only dropped it like 25,000, 50,000, have a conversation with the agent. Say, listen, realistically, what do they want? And a lot of times, like, listing agents are so uncomfortable. They don't think they can tell you. I mean, ask your seller. Just say, do you give me full carte blanche to actually be able to discuss this on your behalf to get a deal closed? And most of the time, if your seller trusts you, they will. So, and obviously, like, let's say they're willing to take 700, right? You're not going to tell the person 700. But if you're listed at 750, you might say, yes, we'll go lower than that, and let agents also read between the lines, kind of thing.
Okay. Tell me about some of the conversations you're having with sellers when it comes to listing appointments. What are some of the persuasive conversations you need to have? What are some of the objections you're hearing? And what are some of the differences in today's market that you're having to pivot to?
So I think today is sellers want more for their house than they can realistically get. So how I've been approaching that is I typically say, what price would make you happy? Get a price from them. And then looking at the comps and everything, well, you also need to find out how quickly they want to close. I mean, if somebody wants to close in 30 days, like they're going to have to price it aggressively to do so. But if they have some time, what I typically do is persuade them to go ahead, we'll list at X, right? And then if we don't have 5 or more showings in the first 2 weeks, then we drop it 10,000, whatever it is, and make a written plan with your sellers, so that way you hold true to that plan, and then that way there's a scheduled, basically, price decrease.
Since you're leading into something I want to talk about with Bree too, I'm gonna have her come up too, because I'm realizing half these questions I'm asking you are the same things that she's going to talk about, unless there's something else you want to share about what we talked about previously before I switch it over. I'll keep you up here. But is there anything else that you want to share about ways that you're framing conversations in the negotiation to win for your buyers or sellers?
Yes, I think that one of the best things to do is find out what your buyer or your seller really want and just do better than that. And they will love you. They'll be so happy because they were okay with this. And, they don't negotiate for a living. So I think at the end of the day, they end up being really pleased.
What are some of those things? What are some of the little brownie points or bonus one-up items that you could get added onto a deal that would make your sellers or buyers happy?
So I just talked to an agent that I'm under contract on. So I know he's not in the room. And he told me that basically we negotiated this whole deal, right? With a post-occupancy for free for 30 days after closing. And when I sent over the signed contract with the post-occupancy agreement, the buyer came back and said, hey, I will do this, but, I want $3,000. And, I went back to my seller and I said, listen, this is what he's willing to do. We did have multiple offers. And he said, I'm okay with the $3,000. He was also over asking. So I went back and I said, listen, I think $3,000 is a lot considering that we have multiple offers. Your initial offer had nothing. Can we do it for $1,500? And he took it.
So you got your client $1,500 that they didn't even expect, and now they're excited about it.
Well, and we all know too, we're not even at inspection yet. If you start giving things away so early on, then they're going to see that, and your seller basically will have zero leverage because they're just willing to give.
What are some ways that you leverage the inspection to negotiate better for your clients?
On the buy side?
Sure.
I guess on the buy side. So obviously, if there's certain things that you knew about ahead of time, it's a little harder to negotiate those. At least when I'm on the other side, I'm like, you knew about this. Like, we talked about this. You said the buyer was aware of this. But when I'm on the buy side of things, I really try to just look at the whole inspection report. We seem to be asking for more repairs lately than actual concessions, just because it's things that they wouldn't have to do, so.
Understood.
Just using the most important things to them. And
then on the flip, where it's something that you did know about, the one thing you can push on is we didn't know it was so bad.
Exactly.
Like, oh, we knew the roof had a problem, but we didn't know the problem was so massive.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. We're so urgent. I like it. All right, let's add Bree to this conversation. Bree Tucker's a wife, a mom of 3. She's a senior agent partner with the Posit Group. She's 26 years old, left college to go all in with the Posit Group. In 2024, she sold over $50 million. She ranked number 43 out of 24,000 agents in Greater Orlando. Y'all give her a round of applause. She's already sold $35 million year to date. She's passionate about spending time with her family, fitness, and helping other agents on the Posit Group grow their business. I'm going to have her jump into this conversation too, because that we just won't repeat the same thing 7 times because of that. Let's give her one more round of applause. All right, Bree, you can jump over there, and if you flick that microphone button to the left, it should turn green. So you gave me such good questions, Bree, that I realized that I want to ask them to Lindsay, but I didn't want to make you come back up and then ask the same ones. So I just figured we're going to roll with this thing. I'm going to start with you, Bree. How has the market change altered the messages you have with your client? Actually, before I ask you that, let's backtrack a little bit. Let's talk, because we talked about how you're framing getting even into these conversations. You and I talked about how you're doing less persuasion and less of it because you guys have such a good marketing machine on the front end, and because you're handling expectations on the front end, and because you have a certain system so that you're always giving them feedback and data and not having them really negotiate. Can you talk a little bit about that system?
Yes. So I was joking with Aaron before coming to the panel today that I hated talking about persuasion because we are doing so little persuasion. But I think really the takeaway in our conversation was that we're really great at setting expectations and making our clients feel like a partner and being their advisor. So anytime, whether it's a seller or it's a buyer, finding a way to set those expectations, getting them bought into you so that they trust you the whole way. And then I think going into everything that Lindsay shared, it makes that a little bit easier in the process.
Love it. Talk about your weekly routine with these people and how often you're updating them and how you're using that.
Yeah, this is my favorite. So with listings, we commit every single week to giving them an update. And that starts by establishing that custom communication plan when you are actually interviewing for their business before you've ever gotten the listing. And so what that looks like is we're sending them an email. It's an update on market, marketing, and feedback. So they know exactly what's going on in their neighborhood, what's changed around their home, what we've done for marketing to get their home in front of as many people as possible, and then what buyers are saying, or if we have no showings, what buyers are not saying about the house. And then we're following that up with a phone call. And so every single week, they're hearing from us on the same day at the same time to go over those metrics. And because we've done that, the expectation setting is already there, and oftentimes we're not even having to ask for the price improvement because it's so obvious that that's what's needed. And they come to us and they say, hey, Bree, or hey, agent at the Posit Group, let's go ahead and reduce the price to get back in line with the market stats, and we'll keep moving forward.
So you just gave a lot, and I see a lot of people zoned in, but I don't see enough pens moving. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to ask you to repeat a few of those things. So if I'm hearing you right, you are having a weekly call with each and every client. They're getting a weekly report. That report goes over any feedback you had, how many showings you had, what's happened in the area around them that would impact their home, and any feedback you're not getting that you think you have. So essentially, you're giving them all this data once a week and almost leading them to persuade themselves to make the right choices. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. And that's been a learning process over the years, right? Because we came out of a busy market where you probably didn't even need to give a 1-week update because the house had already sold. And now we're in a market where it's so skill-based and clients need that communication and they have that expectation for you to be their partner in that way. And it's really easy to put that feedback together once you get comfortable with it, and then you're able to speak really confidently. So if I was going to share something like market stats, I would use the resources that we have from Aura, where you can go in and grab grab the Monday morning quarterback, and you can highlight the months of inventory in association to their price point, average days on market, average list price to sold price ratio, and use that to build confidence in them that you are a student of the business and that you are an expert of the market. The last thing that you want to do is be an agent that's checking in 3 or 4 weeks later and says, hey, I want to reduce the price, and they feel caught off guard because they haven't heard anything else from you. When you do it from this angle, they may not agree every single time, but at least you're giving them a professional outlook, you're giving them information, and they can make an informed decision if they want to move forward or not.
I like it. So obviously not everybody in this room can just be the Posit Group's marketing machine overnight, but talk about some of the things you've learned about how having a well-oiled marketing machine helps you have to have less persuasive conversations because they're already persuaded by the machine.
Absolutely. Well, of course, Ken, our partner and team leader, he's done such an incredible job setting us up with marketing. We're so grateful for that. But even beyond the marketing, let's say we didn't have that machine behind us, it would just be building the trust up front and taking the time to slow down and ask the questions. So whether it's a seller or a buyer, we're doing a pre-listing consultation, or for a buyer, it's a strategy session. And I would consider that the pre-work, right? Because you're asking them questions, understanding what's important to them. And most often for sellers, that's either going to be marketing, it's going to be pricing, or it's going to be timing. And that's going to adjust how you have a conversation with them so that you're not belaboring them with information that may not be important for their goals. And by asking those questions and building trust, we're also giving a lot of deliverables up front. So before we ever go to a home for a listing appointment, for example, we're providing a marketing plan. We've structured a menu of services so that they have options. We're also providing comps. We're doing all of that before we ever step foot in the house. And that's something where we don't feel like we have to gatekeep and wait for the table. So by the time we actually get to the appointment, they're already committed. They tell us what package they want. They tell us that they're ready to go.
I'm going to stop you.
It's because they trust us.
I want to make sure everyone caught that. Before you go to the listing appointment, you're not just giving them comps. And you're not just giving them your marketing strategy completely spelled out. You're giving them a menu of options that have different services, and I'm not allowed to say that, or you guys aren't allowed to say the word. I can say whatever I want.
You can say whatever you want.
That have different commissions or different structures and different amounts and different packages of what you're going to do for them. So they've actually had time to review all these different options before you even sit down with them. Is that what I heard?
You said it, I didn't. That's right.
Y'all caught that, right? Just everybody nod if you caught that.
And I do want to expand on that just for a second. Anyone could do that works well for your business. We have something that works well for us at the Posit Group based on what we offer. And just that tangible piece alone that is a multi-tiered system with multiple options gives them the opportunity to review and an opportunity to choose. So no longer does it feel like an arbitrary decision. And I'm sorry, I'm like under a windstorm right now.
Can you try to cut that behind you?
No, it's okay.
My
hair was blowing in the wind.
If you turn that down or switch it, it'll stop eventually. Or you guys can slide if you want slightly.
Yeah, we can slide. I was going to just sit under it, but I realized it was a little...
I think he's got it. I think he's got it, right?
Okay.
And we didn't screw up your cameras too much, right?
We were also doing a modeling.
Yeah, I was like, don't
Okay.
move, don't say anything.
So,
Maybe a little bit more.
so you've got a system for what you provide them up front, but I'm going to ask both of you, what are some of the questions you make sure to ask people either on the appointment, before the appointment, like when you get a lead or have your first conversation to when you're negotiating at some type of table, what are the questions you make sure that you ask? And what are the questions that most agents aren't asking? I'll start with you, Bree.
Okay.
And then we'll let Lindsay answer since I threw her off guard.
So I think that I used to be this agent as well, so it's very common to want to just book the appointment and get there, right? But really slowing down to build your skill set and making sure you're asking questions. If I'm talking to a seller, like I said, I want to understand what's most important to them. Is it marketing, is it pricing, or is it timing? Because that's going to give us a few different options of ways that we can structure how to best sell their home. For a buyer, I would want to understand similar things, right? Like what are they after in terms of monthly payment when working with their lender? What kind of timing are they looking for and what's important to them, so that way I can guide them. And again, they really feel like we're slowing down to understand the process that would be best for their move.
Lindsay, what are the questions you ask?
I mean, very similar. You're always trying to find out like their motivation, their time frame, like what do they want? What's important to them? Have they worked with a real estate agent before? What did they like? What didn't they like? Just try to find out as much information as you can. And my biggest problem, which used to be, I do so much better at it now, but I shut up. So my husband would always tell me, shut up and let them talk, because people start talking to you and your initial reaction is just to like start a conversation and talk back. That's the worst thing you can do, because they will tell you so much if you just shut up. So same thing with buyers, just motivation, what they're looking for, you know, what they want their payment to be at, what they want their, like, whatever they're comfortable with, HOA, whatever. But.
So for those of you taking notes, you may want to jot this down. Most salespeople worry too much about what to say, and they don't worry enough about what to ask. Because in the end of the day, if you ask the right questions and you actually shut up, people will reveal a hell of a lot more than you may even realize. And there are people out there that might not realize that they respond so quickly that they might be getting information from people, but they're getting a fifth of the information those people would give you if you could sit back and almost like wait long enough where there's awkward silence that they try to fill, and then they give you more, and then they give you more, and then they give you more. But let's talk about how you're framing the current market climate, how you guys are using data. I'll ask you, Bree, first. Like, how are you using data to frame the conversations that you're having with people today based off today's market?
I hate the word that it depends, but it definitely depends on who you're talking to. I'll lean into the seller side because I know I mentioned a few of those deliverables that we're working on before an appointment, like a marketing plan. And so when you look at the Monday morning quarterback right now, right, you'd want to lean into the months of inventory and make sure that your client actually understands where we are, right? It might reflect a balanced market, or it might reflect a seller's market and inventory, but then when we jump down from the average days of listing to contract, that's very reflective that buyers have a lot of options. And of course, us as agents know that, right? If we have listings on the market, we feel very fortunate just to get one showing. It might be trying to beg them to come through the door. Or for buyers, we're probably showing more homes now than we have in multiple years because there's that many things that match their criteria. So I want to make sure that they understand that. So again, when we go on the market and we've done as much pre-work as we can to set their home up for success, but maybe the market isn't responding, we can go back and show that that's a reflection of market conditions, and they still feel like we're a partner. They don't feel like it's the agent, us at the POSIT group, that didn't set them up for success.
So if I'm hearing you right, not only are you providing a lot of the data, when you have your weekly conversations, you're able to manage where that goes, aside from the fact that they may say, hey, I think we need to reduce the price, or I think we need to do this. You're also able to manage telling them that, okay, what the market is telling me, I thought we would have got more offers too, or I thought we would have had more showings, or whatever, but the market's telling us this, here's what we're going to do. Like, you're letting the data influence how you're partnering with them, not like you're this person on one side who tells them what you can get, but you're this partner that's like navigating whatever the market shows you?
Exactly. Navigating every conversation by going back to the market data, right? And then that way, again, it feels like a partnership. It's very easy to lean back on the data because the data never lies. And then that's a conversation where you can say, at this stage, the market isn't responding. If this is still your goal and this is your urgency and motivation, we have to make X change in order to meet the way that the market's performing. And it doesn't work every time. Not every seller wants to do a price improvement, but that's okay because now you've provided the data, you have something in writing to reflect to week over week over week. That way you're able to build on it if you do need to have that conversation again in the future.
Love it. Lindsay, how has the market change altered the message you're giving to your sellers?
So I think now too, every market is very different. Like Lake Nona, for instance, has a lot more inventory than Oviedo. Or, I mean, there's just, you have to look at each, whatever market they're in, you have to really pay attention to that and focus very on localization. So as far as the message, what I've been doing too is relying on you guys, relying on other agents. Call other agents that have listings in that area. Ask how many showings they're getting. Find out, like, let's all work together to try to help each other. So by getting and utilizing, you guys are all a resource for me and I'm a resource for you, you know? So we need to work together. And the more information that we can share with our sellers and buyers, the better off we'll be.
Do you have something to add?
I loved what Lindsay said there about calling other agents, because that is something else I think makes such an impact going into the appointment. To your point, we do have such niche pocket markets that are going to perform much differently than the overall stats. And so by taking the time to call those agents that have pending listings and determine what they actually went under contract for, good or bad, what they were offering for buyer broker compensation, so that you can actually put data together to show your sellers what averages are. That, again, is going to be data that you can't source anywhere else and brings an immense amount of value to the client that you're talking to.
Love it. I'm going to ask you to pick which question you want to answer. I want to either hear some of your go-to talking points that you're having with sellers that have concerns about the current market, the timing, the price, whatever, or the most common objections you hear on appointments, either or. So what are some of the most common conversations you're having, or what are the most common objections that you're getting? I'll start with you, Lindsay, if you want.
So most common objections, well, in this market too, right? A lot of buyers don't want to do anything. So when I go into this house and I tell these sellers, like, listen, you need to paint. You need to paint the exterior. You need to paint the interior. You need to replace your fridge. Those are probably the most common objections because they don't want to do anything. And it's so simple. Like, it's so easy how something so simple, I mean, yes, it's expensive, but in the grand scheme of things, like if you're selling a house for $600,000, a $3,000 refrigerator is nothing. And they still have a lot of equity, right? So kind of reminding them about the awesome equity that they do have in their home and educating them that by doing this small fraction of a thing is actually going to help their house sell faster and surprisingly for more money. So just, those are my most common objections. What was the other question?
Common objections and conversations you're consistently having to have to frame the expectations with this market. So I think you answered both of those.
Yeah.
Bree, how about you?
The objections I'm seeing are always related to pricing, timing, and marketing. Thankfully for marketing, we can kind of niche that one out, or nick that one out because of the marketing plan that we provide up front. But again, if someone's giving you an objection, right, whether it's a seller or a buyer, it's likely related to pricing or timing. So understanding what's important to them. I want to lean on what Lindsay said too, because I think that is so crucial right now, being able to have those tough conversations with sellers. The stat right now is that 50% of homes in Orlando will not sell. So 50% of active listings will expire. And in fact, a lot of the listings that we're picking up now were expireds before. And so we're having to come in and actually have that reset with them, like reset expectations.
Hold on. I want to make sure y'all caught that statistic because that's money right there. If you just left with one nugget, it's learning how to weave that into your conversation. Share that statistic one more time with the people that let it go in one ear and out the other.
The stat right now is that 50% of homes in Orlando that are active on the market will not sell. So every 1 in 2 homes available on the market will expire or will come off the market because they haven't sold. Some of that's related to overpricing, right? That's expectations with sellers. But sometimes something as simple as being able to have that upfront conversation and be the only agent to actually tell them the truth that they need to repaint and we need to replace the floors and we need to replace the countertops is really going to move the needle. We just had a listing that we helped the other day that had been on the market with an agent for 300 days. It expired. The walls were blue. It wasn't a great blue, but they were blue. And so when we came back in, we gave some advice on repainting and taking the time to slow down to do that, even though it wasn't really ideal because they were ready to finally get this house sold. We were on the market for 4 days after making that recommendation at the exact same list price that it was when it expired, and it went pending.
Love it. So again, just to reiterate what I'm hearing, you're leveraging the fact that 50% of homes won't sell to create more urgency and to create more motivation for people to say, look, if you want to sell this house, 50% of them aren't selling, we got to be aggressive in some way or shape or
Try
form.
to stand out. Yeah, do something different because I feel like before, and maybe Lindsay, you could relate, you could walk into a home and as an agent, we could see the potential that it had. So it's like, okay, let's leave the paint colors. I can totally get a buyer bought in. I'll let them know we'll give them a paint credit at closing. And that's just not quite enough anymore because the buyers don't have as much urgency either, right? They have an overwhelming amount of options. Rates are a little bit higher. They can take their time. So now we have to make sure that we are the best positioned listing on the market every single time.
Lindsay, anything you want to add to that?
Yes, to your point, this was in like 2016 or 17, so it was a while ago, but exact same point. I mean, the walls were green, this dark green, and this house had been on the market for over 200 days, and with this one agent, and I told him I'll take the listing, but he needs to repaint the house. And he wouldn't repaint the house, so what I did was I increased my commission slightly, I paid for it, and it went pending in 3 weeks. So, you have to think outside the box too, because, if he wasn't willing to do it, I just sent my painters over there and had it painted.
Love it. Anything else that either of you wants to share with regards to how to collect the right information from your buyers and sellers or how to leverage the current market trends with your buyers and sellers? Anything on those topics I haven't asked?
I think just like leveraging the current market, especially with buyers, find out what's more important to them, like price or closing costs, because a lot of times, like I had a buyer yesterday, they're like, they were asking $620. They're like, oh, we want to offer $615. I'm like, okay. Would you rather have closing costs paid for, or would you rather a lower price? And they're like, well, I educated them on the closing cost situation. They're like, oh, we'd rather have the closing costs. I'm like, okay, perfect. So we came in at $610 with $10,000 towards closing costs. And I just got a counter back this morning. They negotiated back, they countered back at $615 with $10,000. So they're getting $10,000 more than they initially came to me at. So it's really just about educating your clients, offering value that they don't know about, and just using the leverage that's out there with how many days things have been on the market, how many other houses. So this particular house wasn't even on the market that long, only 2 weeks. The problem is there's 36 other houses on the market in this, like, within a 1 mile radius. So you have to think that the seller is looking at that information also. So use that to your advantage.
Understood. Bree, anything you want to add?
I would echo all of that, and I think the biggest thing is, again, you don't have to have all of the perfect persuasion and negotiation tools. I would just encourage everyone to communicate at a really high level. Custom communication plan is crucial, and set expectations. When you do that, there's really no way to fail with clients in the certain market, even if they don't end up getting to the closing table, because you set everything up front.
You love it. You also had a conversation with me, and I might misquote this, but you were talking about how you have the conversations with people about how there's not been enough offers in a period of time, like within the first 2 weeks or whatever it is. Yeah. Can you kind of just run through how you'd have the conversation with someone? I can't remember this, but there's like, oh, it's 3 things that, it comes down to, and you kind of lead them using a framework.
Yeah, exactly. Lindsay mentioned it earlier about if you didn't have maybe a certain amount of showings in a period of time, then you would want to have a written plan to ensure that you can respond to the market. So I know I've repeated them a few times, but really pricing and marketing and timing are going to be the things that I'm going to come back to for a seller's motivation. And then when we're looking at activity, we want a certain amount of showings within a certain period of time. And if we're getting showings but no offers, then we know the market's not responding. Or if we're getting no showings and no offers, then we know we're probably a little bit over the mark. And so then I'm leading back to their motivation and their urgency, as well as that marketing, and feedback update that they're receiving weekly, so that we can work together as partners to make the best decision moving forward.
Love it. Marketing, and feedback. I love it. How many of y'all learned something from the two of them? Make some noise. All right, I'm going to bring up TJ. Now, y'all are good. Oh, yeah.
One other thing real quick. So a lot of people you may have a house that's been on the market for a while and the seller really, really needs to sell. We do have a lot of I have a lot of needles in the haystack. So we are cash buyers also. So if you have somebody that needs to sell, bring it to us, because we might be able to get you closed, get your seller closed, and we can offer that. And we can close in as little as 3 days.
Love it. How many other people have a program similar to that? Is there anyone else in this room that has that opportunity? Raise your hands high if you're a cash buyer. All right, look for the people with their hands up at the break when we're done. By the way, at some point, I don't know what kind of food's coming, but PJ sent food and he couldn't even make it. His team couldn't make it. So when you see PJ with a giant QR code come up on the screen, can everyone make sure, I'll stop at the end and do it again, but can everyone make sure to scan the QR code when you see PJ come up, and you'll get some free food, whatever he has for lunch at the end. Y'all good with that? If so, say, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, sweet. TJ Cosgrove, y'all are good. Thank you so much. Let's give them one more round of applause. All right, I will go down that. Never mind, there's nothing blocking you. Thank you. That was awesome. TJ is over 20 years in the business. He's led multiple top teams. It says over $1 billion in sales. That probably means personally, because I did the math, and just his team alone sold $1 billion since the pandemic, and they're over $1 billion. Is that pretty amazing, by the way? So he led multiple real estate teams. He's now with Real Broker, top team at Real Broker in the country for GCI. His team sells a few $100 million each and every year, and they are a wealth of knowledge. I always say they're trained like Navy SEALs, like they're trained like timeshare salespeople in sales, and that's what makes this team so badass. So I wanted to bring TJ up before I bring Todd up, because Todd's going to bring the roof down. And TJ is going to teach you about the process, the system, and the salesmanship that most of you do not know about, and could sell a lot more if you did. Let's give a giant round of applause for TJ Cosgrove. Are you on now?
They're not trained like timeshare. They have a process like timeshare. Okay?
That's what I meant. I didn't mean like they act like timeshare, but
No,
they're
no, no,
trained
no.
like they know exactly
You
what
got to
they're
buy
doing.
today or I'm going to cry or something like that for timeshare.
But your guys know how to pull someone that walk past. Like you have a unique situation though. You have storefront in Reunion Resort, and your people are trained to pull people that are walking by and off. Like you guys still get
Gaff them and
you
tie
still get
'em
kind
up.
of window traffic type business in a way that most businesses don't, though. Is that fair?
At that location we do, but we do have folks that are general realtors, right? They're in the marketplace, and I think some of the biggest things in talking with so many realtors, whether it's in a deal or just through organic conversations, one of the things that stands out, the two ladies that were just up here, right? I mean, you're looking at probably $50-75 million in sales a year. That's incredible, right? And they obviously empower their teams as well. But what is it that they might be doing? This is what I always like to do myself, but what are they doing that maybe you are doing some of or just not doing all of? What is the difference, right? And what we find is that, and I'm sure you do too, Aaron, with all of your, awards and everything else you give out, is that what's important. The most important thing, I think, is knowledge, right? What is your knowledge base for what you're talking about with a buyer or seller? Doesn't matter buyer or seller, right?
Sure.
And one of the things we always like to talk about is which hat, which hat you're wearing between a buyer and seller. And what that comes down to is what the knowledge you're going to need to know in order to have a conversation to be persuasive. But persuasion is just giving trust, right? And trust comes with being an expert, and being an expert is knowledge. So one of the things I find a lot of is that when people are, who here is Florida licensed? You all are, okay? Don't take that seriously, right? Have a farm area, have a very specific niche area that you are an expert in. Like, try to be the one that nobody knows more about than you do. And what happens in that scenario is that the market will pay that value. The more you know, the more you'll make, I promise you. It's
And
a direct equation.
I feel like it, aside from it, credibility and the confidence that you have positioning as the expert, it also aligns with what Bree was talking about, which was if the marketing machine is built right, people come to you and you already have the positioning, you already have the trust, you already have the credibility, and it makes that you have altitude, they call it, on the client. It makes everything a lot easier because you're going downhill instead of like knocking, I've got this product, let me sell it to you, and then the tables are turned. Is that fair?
100%. And what happens in those case scenarios is that your marketing machine is working for you, and it's promoting you. You just take off in market share. You take off in market share. When you look at areas that you want to be an expert in, find out who the expert is and find out every single thing that they do in order to be that expert. And typically it takes I'm a dinosaur in this business, been around a little bit too long, but back when we were selling caves, I like to say that, we found, I sought out the people who were doing it the best. And then I asked them, like, hey, I'm new. I don't really know what I'm doing. Can I watch you? Can I shadow you? Can I take you out to lunch?
Who did you shadow the other day?
What's that? You
said that an agent you just shadowed, another top agent you just shadowed and told me had the best listing presentation you ever saw.
Oh, there's a few of them. Like, there's one guy in particular that I had.
Dr. Phillips guy.
Yeah, I had a buyer, and you're always judging your fellow agents, aren't you? Like, aren't we a little judgmental of like, hey, I don't know much about this area, and you're going to show a property. Well, in this case, I knew the area, and I was like, let's see how good this guy is. And I just went through a couple experts, and I wasn't impressed. And then I got to this guy, and I was like, "Ooh, I need to ramp my game up." Like he really knocked me back with how the expertise, the level of expertise. One of the things we see is
this was in the last year, correct?
Yeah.
Just to be clear about he's selling hundreds of millions, but he's still learning from other agents.
Yeah, we're always learning.
Can I name the agent or should I?
Probably not right now.
All right, we won't put him on the spot, but
yeah. But
At least it was good feedback, right?
Yeah, he's a quiet agent, doesn't say boo to anyone, and sells, 40, 50, 60 million a year, and doesn't show up to any events, unfortunately. But
Well, no, I've been at a couple.
Okay.
Let me ask you about your process. Let's get straight into the nitty gritty because I want to make sure we have enough time for Todd. Let's walk through the process. What process are you? You've got guys on your team you've taught to sell 40 million their first year.
and ladies, by the way. He
And
says
ladies.
guys, but ladies.
Ladies and gentlemen on your team, but talk about the process that you teach them. Like when they deal with a buyer, you've got a framework, you've got a process. Walk us through it.
Yeah, my background is that I came in through real estate through the developer door, and they had a very particular process that they wanted us to follow in order to present in the best scenario to help buyers or sellers navigate questions that they'll have. And it's almost prompting the questions. So in that regards of timeshare, it just gives people a process. We implement that into our regular general real estate sales by using a funneling system. The first part of the funnel, the very top part of the funnel, is rapport building. I know it sounds common, but rapport building goes a long way when you're building a relationship with an owner who's trusting in either the largest purchase they'll ever make in their life or the most important sale they might make in their life. So rapport building is actually a skill set that everyone should work on. We all think we do it great. When you sharpen up on it, you realize how great it can be.
By the way, I got to give a recommendation. There's a book by Bob Berg called Endless Referrals that is one of the best books I've ever heard on rapport building, or read on rapport building and getting referrals. So if you're looking for some ammo in your arsenal, I'd read that book and I'd study his 10 feel-good questions and stuff like that.
And use it. And, a couple of things that the lady said earlier, too, they were talking about talking too much, right? Some agents talk too much, and that's a great comment. But in sales, what do we do in sales? No, we don't talk. We ask questions, so it stops us from talking. That's like the greatest thing is if you can formulate your question base, then you, at least in the worst case scenario, because I noticed that when the price point goes higher, agents get more nervous, right? Shouldn't. It's the same sale. Everything is the same sale. It's the same process, just different zeros. And it's the same importance to somebody because if they're a seller, what do they want to do? For what? Highest price. If you're a buyer looking, what do the buyers want? The lowest price. And right now, they might not want to buy, to the point of some of the comments, right? I might buy, I might wait, because consumer confidence is telling them what? If they're getting financing, what is the market telling a buyer today? And he said a lot of choices, and that rates probably will go down, right? I've had conversations in this room just before we even started with talking about rates, right? Everyone's like, oh, they're building in the background. So what you can tell your buyer is that we can get the best deal today. You can refinance later, but the money that you're going to save on saving a quarter point or a half a point, you're not going to have the choices that you're going to have, right? So that's what flips, right? And you pay more. You pay more for it, and you don't have the one you want. If we find the one you want today, is there a reason you wouldn't purchase?
So walk through the process.
Sorry.
So we talked about rapport building.
So you got rapport building.
Do you have is it a number of steps? Is it a certain number?
Yeah, it goes down through a funneling process.
Okay, so walk through funnel. What's the next
I'll
level of funnel? We'll send it out after. But what's the next level?
The most important thing, and I think a lot of agents are really good at this, is discovery, right? Because what you're discovering for a buyer or seller is what is important to them, right? You're not discovering that I know this property, I'm going to go show them this property. You're discovering what it is. So we take on our front end, we call this the front end. On our front end, we take time to sit or talk with them. It's either a conference call on the phone, a Zoom call, or in person, and we do not show real estate from that point. We actually book another appointment to go show real estate.
How do you explain that just when you're setting the appointment? Like, what are you actually saying?
Well, to be most efficient with your time today, Aaron, I really want to make sure we go over what's important to you. And this will take 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And as soon as we get that and what's important, we can kind of move forward.
Got it.
And nobody says no, because everyone wants to be efficient with their time. Right?
Got it. And that's on a call you scheduled, or that's when they first reach out?
It can be on the first reach out. You're really just setting expectations to make sure that you're going to get all of the information that's important to them. You're not going to just run out and turn doorknobs, right? And we say that word. You know, we're not going to just go see everything. We're going to make sure we're looking at the properties that are important to you at the prices you want to purchase it at, kind of thing. That's for the buyer side. But so then you get the rapport building. Then you have the discovery, which can take a little bit of time, which is great, because the more discovery you have, the more expertise you're going to show through your knowledge.
Anything people are missing in discovery, like for the people in the room that already know to do it, what do they not do? What's the thing? What's
I'm not going to say
about
about the people in the room, but I will tell you commonly people show up with their clients and never have seen the property before. They're seeing it for the first time with their clients and looking at the agent, that's the listing agent, going, "Oh, please sell this for me." And then they're saying, when the client's walking through it, and like, "Oh, this is nice. Okay, we have to go. I have another appointment. We have another showing we have to get to," right? Don't do that. Don't do that. Take your time with your people. Find out what they like and dislike about the property. Find out between the couple, if it's a couple. Make sure you're asking both of them. Make sure that they're talking in front of each other, right? Because what a husband wants sometimes, or a wife wants, can be totally opposite, right? Get them talking.
What's after discovery?
After discovery, you have area, or we call it map presentation, which map presentation or area presentation can be like, you know, you're looking for these kind of properties here in the Windermere or Winter Garden area, but there's drastic differences between the two. Let me tell you the feature benefits of Windermere. Let me tell you the feature benefits of Winter Garden. So you specifically are talking about what you know, and when you point out the feature benefits, not the detriments, right? I've heard people say that too. Well, you really don't want to be over here because, right? That's a negative. We just say feature benefits, feature benefits. So then you get the map presentation, and then you kind of go through, you know, the inventory, right? The inventory. And sometimes people will come to you with a list of properties, right? I saw all these properties on Zillow or Realtor, and we would like to see all these. Have you guys ever gotten that? Anyone ever get that? And you're like, I'm not showing you. How much time do you think I have? No, because you established being an expert, you can literally sit with them and say, well, you were talking about feng shui. You know, this isn't feng shui. You're talking about having a pool that's south-facing. You're talking about you can eliminate, and you eliminate right there with them. So being an expert. And all of this is building your knowledge, is coming out as an expert, and the care and attention. Because remember, we are in the service industry, right? You know, some realtors will chase commissions. The ones who chase service are always the top.
Who's next on the funnel?
Funnel was a presentation. Then you go to we call it impact stations. Okay, and now I'll go through this real quick. And we're ripping through this, but this is like the most valuable. When you have this tangible tool, you could sell Cutco knives if you want to, right?
Hey. You might sell a lot too.
So it can't be number one in the country, but you can sell Cutco.
Yeah.
So with that, you go to inventory, and let's call it impact stations. So when you are showing a house, before you get to the house, you get to the neighborhood, right? And you already talked about the feature benefits of the neighborhood, but there might be things within that neighborhood that are really unique to that. And before you get to the house, you should show those things, right? I have a listing over in Keens Point. I can't tell you the number of times that an agent has shown up with a $3 million buyer and has never been in Keens Point. And they have never been to the clubhouse. They don't know anything about the golf course. They don't even know who it's designed by. And they go to the house with the client for the first time. That's totally being unprepared. You know, you have all the time in the world now to be prepared in 2025. It's a good time to go learn something, be an expert somewhere. And if you have a client that's looking in a different property or area that you don't know, go to that client. Go to the listing agent. Say, hey, I'd just like to run the house. I love it when someone says that.
Do you also call some of the top agents in areas if
Always.
you need to?
Always.
So if you don't know the area, you may call Julie Bettesini or Peter Liu
Always.
or someone else.
Yeah, 100%. Like call them up, you know, and literally call them and say, hey, you just say, hey, listen, I need some help. I need some help. I'm not an expert. You are the expert in the neighborhood. There's another listing that I had not long ago, and the owner is absentee owner, but he sent me a picture over text, and the pool filter broke. There's water going everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, I was up in Boston seeing my family. I'm like, I called the local agent over there. I'm like, can you do me a favor? He's like, yeah, we got you. This is how we work in the business. He went over there, shut the water off. But like when you have the relationships to what Lindsay was talking about, like we are in this together. So if Bree calls me up and says, hey, I got a buyer for one of your agent's properties or whatever, we're going to try to work it out to get to build a bridge to help everyone get what they want, buyer, seller, and everyone get the deal done.
So let's make sure we run through the rest of the funnel because we only have a few minutes.
That's it. So you get to inventory, impact station. So the impact station is in the community. What's important in the community? Don't just drive to the house. Don't turn the doorknob. Don't go to the kitchen and say this is the kitchen because there's a stove and a microwave, right? We're going to go to places that are impactful to what their wants and desires were when you learn that on the front end. So if they said, hey, the outdoor space is really important to us, and you finally get to that house that it owns that, instead of just walking through the house and checking out bedrooms, say, we'll get to that. Walk them straight out to the impact station and sit them in their moment of what they're looking for. And then leave them. And be quiet. Right? Be quiet. You don't have to keep talking. You don't have to keep talking. Just let them enjoy that moment. So that's summarize the system. I think I did that in 8 minutes.
Love it. What sales or persuasion questions should I have asked you that I didn't? Is there anything you wish you had a chance to share with these people?
I think just develop your questions. Develop your questions because that will keep you from over talking, right? You don't have to know everything, but you do have to know what that client wants, and then you have to know what they're looking at. And then take the time. Take the time to go. It's a lot easier. That's why I said stick your stake in the ground. Go be an expert somewhere to start. The expert, the best in whatever area you want to sell in. The Florida license thing's way overrated. The Orlando license thing's overrated. The Lake Nona to Windermere is overrated. Right? I don't sell real estate in Lake Nona, even if it's a $10 million house. I don't sell it. I'm going to find somebody that is an expert over there, and they're going to help me out.
Hey, Les, if you can hear me in the front office, I need this outlet to actually be plugged in. Sorry to randomly throw that out there, but I'm realizing this battery is going to die because this thing's not actually plugged in anything. So that's cool.
You're good.
Can one of y'all help me real quick? Yeah, you can help me with this. Thank you, man.
Do you guys have any questions?
All right, let's do this. How many of y'all learned something from TJ so far? Make some noise. I want to pull something up really fast, if this is easy enough to do. And if it's not, we'll just keep going. 2 seconds. I got to hit cast. All right, the best framework you could ever use first. How many of you consider yourself a salesperson? Raise your hand. How many of you don't consider yourself a salesperson? That's not a term you like. Okay, I'm going to show you something really fast. This is the best thing you could ever look at when it comes to figuring out where your client's at. There's this guy, Abraham Maslow. He made this thing called the hierarchy of needs a long time ago. You've probably heard of it. How many of you have heard of it? Make some noise. How many of you ever use it in sales?
100%.
Okay, most people aren't trained in sales to look at this. So I'm just going to run through it really fast because I don't have time. I don't want to cut into Todd's time. But if you knew nothing about sales and you just used this hierarchy and just this framework, you could then become a lot more persuasive. So your questions should lead to understanding what level every person's on. And sometimes it shifts, but sometimes it doesn't. So for example, when you're dealing with someone with a physiological need, that's someone that needs to move or they won't have a house. That's someone that their house is being sold, repossessed, they are moving out, their rental ends, whatever. They need a house. And they're going to be a hell of a lot more motivated than someone that does not need a house. Does that make sense? You also have people that might have physiological needs. There's actually 2 levels of this. There are people that can't meet their physiological needs, and because of that, they will ask you way too many questions, change the target, and they will be kind of squirrely and difficult to predict. And the reason that it is because it doesn't matter what their objection is. They're not going to disclose to you that they don't know where they're sleeping next week, or they don't know where their next check's coming from, or they don't know how they're putting dinner on the table in a week. Does that make sense? These are the most difficult people to understand, especially those of you real estate vendors. This is like the agent that you think has a bunch of closings, but they're like squirrely on you. That agent might not know how they're paying their next bill or how they're keeping the lights on. And that is there, like, you might not realize it, but usually if the questions keep changing and the target keeps moving, I start asking, is there a physiological need that's not being met? Oh, I don't really know what happened there, but let's see. I need this changed back or plugged in. Is that plugged in now? It's still not plugged in, just so you know. Yeah, it's not plugged in. All right, does that work? All right, so safety needs is like safety, security. Like, why do you want to live here? I want my kids to go to a better school. That's a security need. Like, you don't want them raised at the wrong school. You want them to be able to walk to school. You want something with it. You get what I'm saying? Security. When you figure out what level someone's on, you only sell to that level. So, meaning like people that have physiological needs don't care about love and belonging. They don't care about being a sense of the community or what they care about putting the next meal on the table. Make sense? So safety needs are security people. Like when I sell something, like let's just use an example. I'm trying to think of how to not sell. When I want to know whether the person just wants to keep their job. Whether like the decision maker is like, hey, I just want to stay stable. I just want to keep things how they are. That's a safety and security person. This person's not worried about putting food on the table. This is the agent that has enough money today, but they're worried the market might go bad in 3 or 6 months, and they don't know what will happen in the future, whether they'll be safe. Does that make sense? And a safety person, the number one thing you can give them, write this word down, is reassurance. Hey, follow me, I've got this. So I'm just going to use the example. I got a call from a realtor association, I won't name which one, and they want to do an event. And I asked the lady, are you just trying to check the box of doing an event? Are you looking to make an event that everyone wants to be a part of? That's the next level, love and belonging. Are you looking to have the biggest event ever? Or are you just trying to change the game and challenge the status quo? So I'm really asking her, which of these 4 levels are you on? Right? And if she said to me, hey, I just want to keep my job, or I just want to pull off this event, then I'm going to sell to, hey, don't worry about it. I've got this handled. I've got this covered. We do this all the time. We've got this for you. We're going to handle this. Don't you worry. Does that make sense? The next level is love and belonging. This is like the people that want to whip out a guitar and sing Kumbaya. So you're selling consistently how love and belong. And so this is the person that if they're buying a home, they want to be in a certain community because they want to be a part of the community. They want to enjoy all the amenities. They want to be a part. They want to know where their kids are going to go to school and where they're going to play sports and who they're going to hang out with and how they're going to socialize around the Keens Point Club or whatever. You get what I'm saying? When you deal with an esteemed person, this person's got most of it figured out, but they still need applause. They still have an esteem, like meaning they still want to be on the stage. They still want to be clapped for. They still want to be recognized. If you lead a team, this might be your up and coming, rock star. Like TJ has people on his team that are crushing it, but they really want to be on a stage like this, or they really want to get an award or a trophy at the sales meeting. Make sense? I'm gonna share 2 more things and I'll shut up. Safety and security people, they want to follow a leader. That's why you reassure them. This is why if you have a team or a group, you want your esteemed people teaching your safety people. Because the safety people will clap for them, and the esteemed people want the clap. Makes just a little side note. Self-actualized, so esteemed people, they want to be recognized. Make sense? These are the people that want you to know how much they've sold in the past, what they did here, what they did last year, how good they are, what their background is. Even if they're new to real estate, they want to tell you about their previous job and how great they were at it and how they were recognized. When you start hearing that, you start thinking they're operating on an esteem level. The number one is self-actualized. These people want to be left the F alone. This is like, let's say I'm selling pools. By the way, I skipped Blue Haven Pool. We'll give them a clap in a second, but Blue Haven Pools is also here. So let's just say I'm buying a pool. Like safety needs would be like, hey, I want a pool for my kids because I don't want them swimming up the street at other parents. They don't pay enough attention. Other parents are distracted. I'd be like, oh my God, that's so unsafe. I just read an article about a neighbor's kid drowning. And you want to lean into safety. Love and belonging's like you're going to be the house that everyone hangs out at. The family's going to come over for holidays. Esteem is like, I'll build you the best and nicest pool in the neighborhood. I'll bid you the most badass pool. Everyone's going to be jealous of your pool. Self-actualize is like, I want to be on a floaty at 11 o'clock on Tuesday because I effing can. There's not, like, I don't care what other people think. I don't care about that. But when you hear any of these things, people are basically telling you what level to sell at. Does that make sense for anyone that caught that? If you learned something from that or from TJ, make some noise. TJ, anything else you want to share about sales or persuasion? Because I'm going to bring up Todd to bring us home.
Yeah, I think we're good. I mean, it's hard to do it in 10 minutes, but yeah.
I know, I put you on the spot and made it quick. Let me ask you a question. What is the number one thing you teach your people about handling objections in the real estate world?
Well, objections are just insecurities of the unknown. So we try to coach and teach and advise our clients for, and that's what's so valuable in the front end, so valuable in discovery, so valuable in the rapport building. All of these things bridge a gap of objections. We're looking for the objection. We're looking for why they want to move forward, and then obviously why they might not want to move forward. What their timing is, financial situation, got to sell a house, got to, all these kind of different things. So just the front end is so valuable. Take time with it. Be an expert somewhere. Make sure you run your properties. That's pretty much the summary of it.
Love it. Let's give TJ a giant round of applause. All right, give me 1 second to pull this up. All right. Well, I've been excited to bring this guest speaker because, transparently, he's going to bring the house down. And I know he brings the energy, and he is an absolute expert when it comes to sales and persuasion. So Todd Speciale is the CEO of MSGA Consulting, one of today's most sought-after speakers, sales, business, and leadership expert. He's a 3-time best-selling author with his newest book, The Ultimate Sales Bible, still topping the charts in sales and selling over 17 months running. He's known as the culture creator as he transforms teams with integrity-driven leadership, and he trains C-suite executives and inspires thousands with his authentic approach. He's been on stages with a few people you've probably heard of, like anyone ever heard of a guy named Matthew McConaughey? Or how about Ty Lopez? Jack Canfield, Soup for the Whole Soul, Ashton Kutcher, Harold Steinbrenner, the owner of the Yankees, Cable Delgado, and way more. And that's a short list because I know that list is even longer. Could we all just jump up on our feet and give a giant round of applause? Because he's going to bring us home, Todd Speciale. Come on, everyone, jump up. Clap for the guy. I promise he's going to bring some energy. You're going to want to have that energy. And he's here to talk about the power of persuasion. You want this microphone?
Yeah, whatever.
I'll give it to you. Here. Beautiful.
Do I look weird? Is this thing on right?
I think you got it.
I got it. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today? The energy isn't good enough. Everybody stand up one more time for me, please, okay? Listen, guys, a lot of you come here and you guys want to learn shit and you're listening to people and they're pouring into you. TJ had 4.5 seconds to teach you the art of persuasion and sales. I'm sure he's happy about that. I want you guys to do me a favor right now, and I want you to get as loud as you can. And I'm not even going to start speaking. We can stay here till 5 p.m. until you walk out the door, until you go absolutely insane with a little bit of noise for all the previous speakers and Aaron for putting on this event. So on the count of 3, I want you guys to go absolutely nuts, clap as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Come on, louder. Let's go. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Everybody, orange shirt, I don't see you clapping, my guy. Okay, there we go. All right, all right. All right, take a seat, guys. Thank you so much. Aaron, was there, I'm no clicker. I'll just hit the button here. Okay, cool. I got it. We're all good, I think. There we go. This is good. Okay. Aaron told me I had 15 minutes. He's asked me a few times to come speak at some of these events. I'm usually out of town. I am honored to be here in front of you guys just to take today to give you a little bit of expertise on persuasion and negotiation. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do it pretty quickly because I know you guys want to get back out and sell some shit, real estate. By the way, who raised their hand? I think you did, young lady. Well, you could smile. It's okay. You're not in sales, right? Oh, I thought he said someone, raise your hand if you said you weren't in sales or you didn't like to be in sales. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Ma'am, tell me what you hate about sales or just the title of it. I understand. You know what the number one hated sales position in the world is? Nope, timeshare people. Next, ma'am, what do you hate about sales? Aggressive. They're only talking to you because they want one thing, right? They want the money. Is that fair to say? What do you do for a living? No, for like what company, man? Like, what do you do? Is it educator, problem solving for who? Nice, love that. Okay, so you educate them on how to sell, but you just don't like sales. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I would buy from you. You want to know why? You find the problem, you give them a solution, and you educate them. That's sales. You're basically in sales. You should sell because you'd be amazing at sales. Because I don't want to deal with people that lie. We talk about used car salespeople, right? What's the first thing up here? Kind of blurry, and I already have bad eyes, but it says be honest, right? Here's the thing about persuasion and negotiation. I always talk about selling from the negatives. Why do you sell from the negatives? All the bad shit. Everybody's spewing features and benefits and all the bright, shiny objects and look at the home and all this shit, right? You guys want to sell all the features and benefits. But what about the negatives? What about the negatives would stop someone from buying something? Why do we bring that up if we're a used car salesman, if we're in timeshare, if we're educating people? The negatives about starting in real estate, knowing you're not going to get a check for a long-ass time. Come sell, we're EXP. We got thousands of people every single day that are becoming members, and only about 10% of them make money, but you should come join us, man. This shit's amazing. Do you recruit like that? No. What do you pitch? The bright, shiny object. You guys are like, come with EXP. Largest thing in the world and best opportunity, best trainer who problem solves and finds solution, educates you, but it's not in sales, but she's going to teach you how to sell. And we're great at that because we're going to give you opportunity, but salespeople lie. That's why people hate them. And this is a hard truth for all you salespeople. Raise your hand if you're in sales. Raise your hand, everybody. Okay, here's the deal. They don't like you. And it's not really because of you if you're an honest person. It's because of the people that are liars. And they're setting the tone for the title. Who was in timeshare in here? Raise your hand before someone said they were in timeshare. Okay. When somebody asked you what you used to do for a living, what did you tell them? Be honest with me right now, because I already know the answer. What's that? I love you. What'd you say? Most people say real estate. What do you do for a living? Timeshare people. You're the honest ones. Thank you. But I was in the timeshare business for 4 years, broke every record in the business. I was vice president of sales for the entire East Coast. I know I got out of it because of all the dishonest people. There are some honest ones. There are. But usually when people are selling timeshare, they're in real estate. They're like, yo, dude, I'm in real estate. You're not in real estate, bro. Okay? So they're already starting off lying. Start a presentation very quickly. Hey, don't worry, I'm not here to sell you anything. We're just going to give you a free tour because marketing gave you some gifts. Just come on upstairs. Don't worry about it. It's just a tour of the property, but you're sitting down with them and you're pitching numbers. Instead, the art of persuasion, which is honest, is this. I used to teach reps to come up and say, hey, Miss Smith, how are you doing, man? My name's Todd Speciale. Now, listen, I know that you don't want to be here today, right? They just gave you $200 or $300 as a gift to be here, and you probably want to get out of here in 30 minutes, only the presentation is 60 minutes. Is that fair to say? Okay. Well, I don't want to take too much time away from your family because you know that I'm going to ask you to buy something today. I know you're going to say what? No, of course you are. So now that we got that out of the way, here's all I'm going to ask you for. 30 minutes of your time, if you're completely honest with me and I'm honest with you, completely open, I'll get you in and out of here in 30 minutes rather than an hour so you can get back with your family. Fair enough? Cool. I know you're going to say no. You know I'm going to try to sell you something, so that's out of the way. So let's just get to the nuts and bolts of things. If it adds value to your life, do it. If it doesn't, in and out of here in 30 minutes, I can get another tour. We can call it a day. Walk upstairs. Honesty. Change the game. You talk, is that persuasion or sales? Which one is it? It's really both. Because, I think people confuse the difference between persuasion. It's really the same thing. See, someone that says they're not in sales, you're lying. When you were a baby, you were crying for food. You were selling, Mom, give me some of this. My 10-year-old daughter, Daddy, I want a piece of candy. She says no. My wife says no. I say no. She goes, but Daddy, I want a piece of candy. But why? I said, well, because it's bad for your teeth, babe. You've had enough. Sugar's not good for you. But Daddy, but why? Well, I don't know. I think there's like a study that says really good. But yeah, but why is that study? But why? Have the piece of candy, for God's sakes. We're in sales. When your husband, wife, you guys or whoever met each other, you met one another, right? Guy comes up to you at the bar, walks up to you and says, hey, ma'am, I've got a BMW, got a house in the hills, got a Rolex. How you doing, right? And the girls are puking. He's trying to sell himself. Ladies, you find a guy. You get nervous. Pits in your stomach. You want to look your best. You get dressed up, makeup, dress on. You go out. You're selling. You are. Let's call it what it is. Because otherwise, you'd be in your pajamas at the bar every day, no makeup on. You wouldn't get your hair done. You wouldn't look pretty, and you just show up. You're like, this is the real me. And some of us men would go to bars looking like shit, and the girl's like, I'm not doing no brushed hair, no tucked in shirt, none of that. That's sales. See, everybody's in sales, you guys, okay? And Aaron asked me, he said, look, dude, you got a few minutes. You got no been asking you to come here. Please, man, I'm going to try to give you some extra time. I'm going to make it quick, but we're going to make this fun, okay? Here's the thing. You got to be honest. You got to speak with definites, okay? Salespeople lie. We already know that. Don't be the person that lies, okay? Persuasion comes from honesty. You don't have to persuade people if you're honest. Someone was talking about, I think you ladies were talking about the color of the walls or some shit like that, right? Here's the thing. Oh, it's so hard to get people to change the color of the walls. Well, how about this? Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Homer, I know you guys are trying to sell the home right now, but if there was a way that I could potentially show you how you can make more money for your home, get more money for it, and sell it quicker, would you be 1% open to hearing about it? I didn't talk about the walls yet. I'm setting the stage. I'm leading. That's persuasion. That is sales. Of course I would. Who's going to say no to, would you be 1% remotely open to hearing about it? I can sell your house faster than anybody else. I'm going to give you the tools to make more money on your home. Are you 1% remotely open to hearing about it? Guys, I'm not in real estate sales, but I would crush 99% of the realtors. Why? Because honesty. They're going to say yes. Okay, I'm going to tell them, paint your walls. Green is ugly as shit. That's it. Very real. I'm going to be honest with them. But the problem is, you guys, you try to pitch, well, Mr. and Mrs. and you're like timid. You got to speak with confidence, right? You got to be real with them. Well, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Homer, I know you probably don't want to do this, but I would suggest that you guys, you know, paint your walls maybe. No. Speaking with confidence is real. Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, you're 1% remotely open to hearing about something where you can sell your house faster and make more money. I'm just going to be honest with you. Walls, ugly. Green walls, no sale. Neutral walls, make more money. Small investment, make more money, everybody wins. You in? It's easy, but yet we try to pitch all these features and benefits and talk people into doing shit. Persuade this, persuade that, persuade. And people use the word so loosely. Sales, persuasion, negotiation is being real, okay? Next one, we'll jump down to like your resume, and I'll go through this very quickly. How many people have a resume in here? Raise your hand. Or had one. If you don't have a resume, there's a problem. Okay, all right. I had a resume. I still have a resume, right? I don't look for a job. I'm very fortunate. My company this year just hit 8 figures, by the way. You can give me a round of applause for that. Thank you very much. Okay, so I teach people how to sell. I've taught a lot of realtors how to sell, and I've never sold a home. I've taught leadership, development. When people come into my business and my partner recruits them, and they have a resume, I ask them, what does the resume tell me about you? Tell me this. What does it tell me about you? So someone tell me, what does the resume tell me about you, sir? Does it tell me who you are? Think. Does it tell me who you are as a person? Sets the stage. It's the bright, shiny object, is it not? Look at my resume. How many people put, I filed bankruptcy on your resume? Car repossessed 6 months ago. Kicked out of my house, just got divorced for the 3rd time. Do you put that on your resume? It's a bright, shiny object. Instagram. Great. Social media. You're selling. Do you put, I just got a divorce on your Instagram? Do you put, well, maybe. Since we're on that subject, I've been married 27 years. Give me a round of applause, please. Thank you. 2 wives, but hey, whatever. Okay, so here's the thing, right? But a resume doesn't tell me who you are. The problem with a resume, right, It's just a bright, shiny object, but you're selling. But some of you say you're not in sales. You go to an interview, you're selling yourself. You're in sales just because you're not selling something that gives you money. But are you? You're going to a job, you want to get paid, you want to earn money. You're selling yourself. That's what you're doing. So everybody's in sales. I don't care who says they're not. But if you go to an interview, the first thing I do is I fold the resume up, I put it aside. Tell me about who you are. Well, I've done this, and I've done this, and I've worked for this person. I've done amazing things, and I've done this, and I broke records, and no. Who are you? If I were to call your previous employer and ask them the top 3 things they think you need to work on, what would those be? Tonality down, persuasion. I'm going to ask them that question. They're going to tell me the answer. I'm going to feel them out and see if I want to hire them or not. Because I don't give a shit what your resume says. Ashton Kutcher and all this, that's great. Very cool. Matthew McConaughey, very cool. All this. But if I got up here and I was like, hi guys, my name is Todd. Nice to meet you today. You would have walked out of the damn room. I got to prove myself. And so do you every day. That's also persuasion and sales. So let's go on to the next one. Let's talk about Trump. Some people are like, fuck that guy. All right. So some people are like, I love him. Well, whatever. This isn't about politics. But Trump does something that most people don't do very well. It's called linguistic certainty. He speaks with certainty, whether you like him or not. We're going to win Iowa, and we're going to get the most votes you've ever seen, and we're going to build the best country, and we're going to just make America great again, and that's what we're going to do, and there's no doubt about it, and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, people start voting for him. He's got confidence. He speaks with certainty. And the people that didn't want to vote for him, they voted for him because he did even better this time on how he spoke. That's linguistic certainty, but some of you aren't confident. You don't know your craft well enough. But some of you guys are like, I want to sell real estate. But yet you go out there and you're just pitching the home. See, I was listening to some of you guys speak up here. You know what I didn't hear? Well, let's do this and handle this objection and features and benefits and all this shit. When you walk through someone's home, bring them and sit them here. Okay, sounds great. I'm sure that's great in real estate. How about this? How many of you actually walk someone through the home and picture them in the home and ask them, you've got 2 beautiful daughters, ma'am. What's the first thing you think they're going to do when, not if, when you move into this home? I want you to tell me about it. I don't want to know that you love the 3 bedrooms with the pool and all that shit. I want to know what you're going to do in the home. Because if this home doesn't do it for you, I'm not going to sell you the home. It's not a takeaway. I would not sell them the home if they can't see their life there. Because it drives emotion. Emotion is persuasion. Persuasion becomes sales. And now, like TJ said, you are serving someone. You're not selling them. Sales is a service. And if 99% of the people on the other spectrum, man, from used car salesman to timeshare to whoever we think the best salespeople are in the world as far as the job, they're all the same people. It doesn't matter what you sell. I've trained a shit ton of really good used car salespeople, but they have a bad title because of 99% of the assholes. But let's say you flipped it, okay? And now we're serving someone we actually care about who they are. You are persuading the industry and your opinion, ma'am, of me because I'm honest. You would buy from me because I'm honest. Okay, here's the deal. Not everybody is. But did I just speak with linguistic certainty? I didn't ask her if she'd buy from me. I said, you would buy from me. And she said, yes. Because I'm honest. I didn't ask her, am I honest, ma'am? I told her. And then I'm going to prove it with my actions and how I serve them. That's persuasion. That's sales. That's certainty. So whether you like Trump or not, he's good at that shit. Okay, number 2, eliminate fillers. Okay, buying time, fuck, I can't even read that shit. Barack pause and Elon's ums and ahs. Sorry, team put this together for me. So here's the deal. What about Barack? Elon, have you ever seen an interview with Elon Musk? Fuck, it kills me. The certification of the NASA that we're doing is really it's amazing. And it's like, what the fuck? Get a sentence out, dude. Like you're a billionaire. Like can't speak. And then Barack, he doesn't say uhs and ums and all that shit. Barack Obama has a conversation. In America, we're going to do great things. And we're going to sell, and the economy is going to be better, and life's going to be good for everyone. He doesn't make mistakes. He's one of the best speakers of all time because he pauses every time he thinks he's going to say or ah. For instance, if you don't mind, ma'am, right there in the middle, what's your goal for this year? Yeah. I'm sorry? Love that. How much money? No, what's your goal? Like, what is your goal? Are you in real estate sales? Okay, what's your goal? How much do you want to sell this year? Okay, stop. Looked, left, right. Watch this. Anybody ever Never Split the Difference, read the book Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss? Shit's awesome, right? Okay, he has a theory that I believe is true, that when you think and you say or and you look this direction, okay, you don't know. Which means when you say or you're buying time. So connect that to persuasion and sales. Let me ask you guys a question. If you're sitting with a homeowner and they ask you a question, you go, like this. Do they think that they're confident that you know what the fuck you're talking about? Probably not, right? So what's going to happen? They're going to go to someone who does. So the truth is, you guys can be great at persuasion and sales all you want, but at the end of the day, if you are not confident in how you speak and you have a bunch of uhs and ums and all this shit, they're going to go to someone who doesn't have that, that's going to pause like Barack, that's going to take the time to hear them out, that's going to listen to them. TJ said it, sales 80-20. It should be, I call it 80-10-10. What do salespeople love to do? We love to run our mouths. Look at these shiny little. You should be asking questions 10% of the time. You should be offering solutions 10% of the time. You should be letting them speak 80% of the time. But some of you guys don't. Look at this. This is why you should work with me and why I'm the best and all this. And look at my resume and all this shit. That's not persuasion, guys. That's not persuading anybody to work with you. Here's the truth, Aaron. I'm going to sell you a home. I'm going to do it the fastest. But I'm going to do it on your terms. What's the most important thing to you? Shut up. First person who speaks loses. That's persuasion. Get there, find a solution, educate them, close them. That's persuasion. That is sales. But some of you don't do it. I've got this beautiful home. I've got all this other stuff. No, dude, the home's the byproduct of you serving for what's important to them and their family, because it might be the biggest asset they ever own in their home, in their lives. Is that correct? Okay, 99% of people, it'll be the biggest asset they ever own. But you're rushing through it. Ask them questions. Persuasion and sales. Last one, know your audience. This one's great. Going to tell you guys a quick story, okay, about negotiation. Know your audience, okay? Wife comes up to me last year, and she goes, babe, you know, with COVID and stuff, I've been to 49 countries now, right? I'm going to hit my 50th country this year. I just turned 49 July 11th. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I know I don't look 49. What the fuck? Never works. Anyways, all right. So I turned 49. Gonna hit my 50th country, we're going out. So last year, my wife says to me, she goes, babe, listen, here's the deal. She comes up to me. I'm sitting at my desk working. It's about 9, 10 o'clock at night. I'm in my office at the house. She says, I found the perfect vacation. You told me to look. I found the perfect vacation for all of us. She says, we're going to first take a plane, and we're going to fly to New York, because from New York, we're gonna go to London. So we gotta stop in New York, and I booked us a room at the Waldorf. Just one night, don't worry, because I want to get your approval on the rest of the trip, okay? So worst case scenario, we just go to New York, no big deal, fine, right? But you told me that this trip is about family, and it's about time, and you told me to just make this a good one, because we haven't had to travel to Europe because of COVID and all this other stuff, right? I said, yeah, babe, I did. Go ahead, tell me. She set me up. I already know, right? And she says, we're going to go to the Waldorf, we're going to stay for one night. When the next day, we're going to get up, we're going to fly to London, we're going to stay in London for 2 days, okay? We're going to go see everything in London. I've already booked a private car. I have a private tour guide. And they're going to show us everything to see in London in 2 days so we don't waste a bunch of time, because we're going to take a flight from London into Barcelona. Now, when we land in Barcelona, we're going to stay at the oldest Ritz-Carlton ever created in Barcelona. We're going to go see La Sagrada Familia. I know you love cathedrals, Todd, and I think that's the coolest thing ever. And I also got us a private tour there as well. We're going to stay 3 days from there. We're going to fly from Barcelona to Mallorca, a small island right next to Ibiza. We're going to stay there for 2 days at a Hilton, private tour, and then we're going to fly back to Barcelona, and then we're going to get on a Mediterranean cruise. And that cruise is going to hit 6 different spots. We're going to be able to stop, spend some time there. One, we're going to spend, men, what the fuck am I thinking right now? What am I thinking? How much, dude? I was like, shut up. How much? Right? Like, she kept telling me, I'm like, what is going on right now? Like, what do you mean? Like, no, already. And she's like, no, babe, don't worry about it. She's like, it's not that bad, babe. It's really not that bad. I said, babe, how much? Tell me the detail. How much? You've done a lot of research here. How much? She goes, yeah, she's 50th, right? She goes, it's okay, babe. Don't worry about it. She goes, it's just right under 40 grand for everything. Pit of my stomach comes out, like 40 grand. That's what I'm thinking. Don't want to show with my wife. Like, oh, man, I can pay for it. And she goes, and she literally stopped and she goes, babe, or said, we can just take an Eastern Caribbean cruise and stop at St. John's. It's like $3,000 a person. It's going to be like $15K. I go, do that one. Do that. Do the $15K. Let's do that one. What did she do? What'd you say? Tell me, what you say? Say it. She what? Oh, 100%. That you call it manipulation, I call it persuasion. See, TJ said something earlier about, preparing the team for objections that come, okay? About their, I think you said insecurities or something that they don't know what they want, et cetera. There's a lot of truth to that, but here's the thing. Let me ask you a question. If you've been in real estate sales or whatever your business you're in, do you feel like you know the top 5 objections are gonna come every time? Do you feel like you know that? Raise your hand if you feel like you know that. Raise your hand. Okay? Well, if you don't, you fucking need to do. Okay, so here's the thing. The objections are usually the same. They're usually the same. So if you can't master the 5 top objections in your business, that's a problem already, okay? But if you know the objections before they actually come, why aren't you surfacing them? That's called blocking. That's persuasion. I'm gonna block the objections. My wife knew I didn't want to pay $40,000 for a vacation, obviously, okay? She also knows that I don't like to fly to 15 different places. I'd rather go to 3 and spend some time there if we're in Europe. So she's bringing up all the shit that she knows I'm going to object to, and then she just gave me an out and sold me on an easier one. Fly one place, have a nice little cruise, we're done. So she set me up, dude. She led me. That is also persuasion. See, I think you guys complicate this sales thing, dude. And I'm going to finish because in a time crunch, I do this shit for a living. And I'll tell you guys, I'm not for everybody. And guess what? You as salespeople, you're not going to be for everybody either. How I speak doesn't resonate with some people. With a lot of people, it does. Because I refuse to get on stage or sell anybody and be anything other than honest, because persuasion comes with being honest. By understanding your craft, you know what those objections are going to come your way. You know they're coming. Bring them up before they do, because when you speak it, you own it. Let me guess. I know that you don't want to, you already told me $500,000 is your max as far as the home that you want to buy. I'm guessing that you probably don't want to go to 550 or 600 because people always say you can stretch the envelope. I get it, but just let me ask you a quick question. I mean, is time with your family in your ideal home the most important thing, or is it the $50,000 over the next 30 years? Which one's more important? Time with your family? Is anybody ever going to say anything other than that? Like, tonality's down. Is time with your family more important, or the $50,000 over the next 30 years? What did I just do? I'm minimizing the cost of $50,000 by reducing my tonality, which is also persuasion. I'm tying family back into the picture because emotion sells. And it's always tied back to money. But you guys got to understand 2 very important things. People do not give a fuck about your product or service that you're offering unless they know you actually care about them. And when you do care about them, you don't have to persuade anything. You just have to be honest. So people want to teach you to be persuasive. Very easy. Be real. Speak with confidence. Eliminate the uhs and ums. Know your shit. And when you negotiate, set it up in a way where, and I always say this, in life, don't ask for what you want, ask for more than what you want so you'll get what you want. And the last thing with real estate, let's say someone's looking for a home and you're asking them, like, what's the price range you guys want to be in? I don't know if you guys ask that or do that shit or not, right? Where do you need to be? Because you can't sell a $1 million home if they can only afford a $500,000 home, right? But what if we found the perfect home, where do you need to be? Is it more like, 6, 7, 800,000? What do you think they're going to say? 6 or lower. Why? And everybody wants a deal. Everybody wants to negotiate, yes or no. That's called suggestive numbers. That's persuasion. I know they're going to say 6 to 550. I know that. They want to tell you the lowest number. It's called suggestive numbers. Get them. If I suggest numbers that are higher, I'm persuading them because I know that the number's they're not going to get there. That's not where they want to be. Get into this number. Art of persuasion, guys. Care about them. offer a good product or service, be extremely honest, guys. And in the 15 minutes I've been up here, or 20 minutes, whatever it is, I can tell you this. There's not a person in the world that's in this room right now that can't sell. You can sell. You want to know why? Because you hate salespeople. And if you sat next to a person and you told them, I hate salespeople, what do you think they'd say to you? I do too. So I'm going to be the person that is going to sell you, but serve you. And I'm going to earn your business. And if you don't like that, kick me off your opportunity and get someone else. But I'm going to be the person that's going to prove that salespeople aren't like shit. So what's the first thing that's most important to you, ma'am? Boom. Go right into the comment. That's it. Be real. Guys, my name's Todd Speciale. Thank you for my short time. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Real quick, Todd. You have something that people want to learn more from you, or they want to get coached by you, or whatever. Tell them a little bit more about how they can follow you, reach you, and take your course.
Yeah, so real quick, it's on IG, Instagram. It's @Todd Speciale. If you guys want to follow me, that's very cool. I would love that. Look me up online. And then our business IG account we just opened up is @MakeSalesGreatAgain. No, it's not political, just a very catchy name. Yes, I own the rights to it, so you can't use it. You're welcome. All right. If you scan this QR code, it goes directly to my website. I do speak all over the country. I enjoy it. I have a good time with it, not because I have to, because I like pouring into people's lives and impacting them. And I do have a few books out, okay? I was in the timeshare industry. I wrote a book called How to Be Number One Before You Finish Number Two. It's a small guide. I thought it was funny. A picture of toilet paper on it. It's got, no? All right, whatever. All right. And then I wrote The Things I Do Know. It's a mindset mastery book, self-published it myself. But this third book took me 4.5 years to write. It's called The Ultimate Sales Bible, okay? The Ultimate Sales Bible is 547 pages. If you don't like to read, do not buy it. I am recording the audio version right now. It should be done sometime in 2084 because it's 547 pages. Anyways, get the book, guys, because I'm telling you, I have read every sales negotiation, persuasion book on the planet. This has everything in one. Buy the book. It's awesome. And finally, if you guys do have a team and you want us to come in and coach your team, please just DM me on IG, whatever you guys need to do. It's great. And lastly, I'll just share this with you. We've got a course here that we just dropped. If I can learn how to do this thing. It's called 7 Cornerstones. Well, that's weird. It's called 7 Cornerstones to 7-Figure Sales. Guys, we took 2 years, bless you. Bless you, ma'am. It took 2 years for us to build this. You get a free login. You keep it forever. It's $97 right now. It was $497. I hate selling from the stage. Thank you, Aaron, for giving me a chance to do this. But I don't care if you buy it or not. You should buy it. But I promise you it's the best course on the planet. I'm just being very honest with you. Not because I built it, because we took 2 years to pour into this course. It has videos, logins, quizzes, hot sheets, everything you could possibly need. It's literally only $97. And if you're not willing to invest $97 in yourself, you should just leave the room, because it's I'm telling you, it's worth it. So that's how you guys can get the course. That's how you guys can find me. Anything else, feel free to reach out. I appreciate you guys and your time. Aaron, thank you.
Yo, give it up for Todd.
Thank you.
And give it up for all the speakers today. Since we ran a little bit over, I'm going to cut this quick, but I want to get at least a couple takeaways really fast from the room. How many of you got something from one of our speakers? Who wants to share what you got today? I'm going to run out here. Who wants to share what they got out of today? Somebody. Someone ideally on this side. Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, good. I'm usually loud enough. It's fine. I can sell shit, apparently. I'm not a salesman. I hate salesmen, but I sell shit in my sleep every time I talk to somebody, and now I'm fully aware of that.
Love it. Who else got something out of it? Oh, here. Actually, you know what? Since you're not a salesperson, I'm going to give you a Call the Damn Leads pen. Who else has one? Yeah, over here. You come to every master class. What'd you get out of this one?
I am a salesperson. I can come out there and sell you anything.
Love it. Call the damn leads. Right? Who else has one? Someone else. No one else got something from today? Yeah, Scott.
Hit pause in your speaking instead of ums and uhs.
Hit pause instead of, you have that already? That book? Did I already give you that? All right, sweet. Yeah. Shut up and listen. I love it. Here, I'll give you one of the Call the Damn Leads. Oh, you want a book? All right, take the book. Who else? Anyone else? Let's get one more. Yep, over there, Carol Ann. Love it. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs help you size people up quicker. I'm telling you, whether you study that or not, just knowing how to identify where someone's at will help you hone in like a missile when it comes to selling, because you'll suddenly realize why they want to do what they say they want to do, but like actually why they want to do it. Anyone else? Anything else? I got a few more things to give away. If not, make sure you join us August 21st right back here. You can sign up on Eventbrite, same place you did the last one. Next month's session is actually also really exciting because we have 4 agents that all sell between $50 and $80 million annually, which is a lot, but they all are involved not only in selling the homes, they're involved in like Property Brothers style, like selling a home that's not even renovated yet, or selling a home but selling the vision of what it can look like once they do it. And these people all have GCs and other things involved with the process. So they're selling and updating homes, and they're all going to speak about it next month. So come back and join us August 21st. Make sure to say thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to all the speakers. Speakers, real quick, I want to get a photo with you guys before we leave. Otherwise, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all next month.